My girlfriend of 6 years cheated on me with an older man. TLDR, my high school sweetheart that I thought was gonna marry and be with forever. Cheated on me after 6 years with an older man from her work and left me for him. This is quite an old story, and it's always pretty cathartic for me to get it off of my chest when it's bothering me. I still feel the effects of it on my soul some 10 years later. I'm 32 now, but at the time I was 22 and my girlfriend was 20. We had been together for 6 years, all of the way from high school. I can tell you exact dates even today. We were together from September 22, 2006 until October 12, 2012. I loved this girl. I loved her with my entire self unconditionally. I had the wool pulled over my eyes in life and thought that no matter what, we would always be together. We would always work together to get through everything. We would always have each other's backs. We were one another's first love. How could we not commit to one another that way? That's what I thought, at least. We had already had a cheating incident about 2 years prior to this. I had heard through the grapevine that she was possibly going behind my back with someone, and she was. But it turned out to be another girl who was slightly older now, of course. At 20 years old, you think this is actually the coolest thing ever. Yeah, my girl is into girls. This is rad. But it ended up turning into something I didn't want to deal with. Youthful 20-year-old insecurity on my part. So we got through that. But I don't think things were ever truly the same. I feel like she was beginning to experience FOMO, a problem I think that a lot of us guys have had to deal with when it comes to being cheated on. She was around 18 at the time, and I think she was really beginning to doubt that I was the person she wanted to be with. And I can see that plain as day now. Fast forward to 2012. She had graduated in 2011, 2 years after me. We're in the 6th year together. Despite the speed bump we had previously, our relationship at no point ever felt like it dwindled. We did things together all of the time. She never rejected me physically or vice versa, and I felt like everything was phenomenal. I'm working and going to college, she's working. I'm trying to get a foothold financially so that we can hopefully, in my eyes anyway, start getting ready to set the rest of our lives in motion. Then, finally, things felt like they started changing. For the first time ever, she was beginning to show less interest in me little by little. And it happened fast, probably about a month before I found out. She had recently switched jobs and had gotten a great one. Much better than what she had had previously. I saw this as awesome for us, as together we were making great money and could start saving for a house when that was actually an attainable dream for young people. But she just continued to show less and less interest. It really just snowballed. Of course, my mind started to whisper in my ear, she's met someone at this new job, and I was right. One day, I decided to use some of my PTO and leave work early. About halfway through the day, I just wasn't feeling working that day. Her and I had fun plans for that night because it was on a Friday. It was kind of a spur-of-the-moment decision on my part to leave early, so I didn't text her or call her immediately to let her know. I figured she was at work herself and would follow up with her later, so I get in the car and drive home, not a single worry in the world. I pull up to our house, which was a rental, and there was a vehicle parked out front that I didn't recognize, and my girlfriend's Ford Explorer was parked in the driveway. Immediately, I'm perplexed. I knew she had a lot of friends, and they came over to hang out with us from time to time, but I didn't recognize this one. It was a navy blue BMW Beamer, late 2000s model. I thought, who the fuck is this? As soon as I unlocked the front door and opened it, and I heard her. When I tell you my heart sank to the very bottom of my feet, I mean it. I just stood there honestly for what felt like a minute, listening to her moan and shit while the entire previous 6 years played out in my mind. And also the embarrassment I would feel having to tell my family, who thought very highly of her and loved her, and friends, this had happened. I swallowed my pride and finally just walked inside. I went down the hallway and turned the corner to the bedroom, and just leaned on one side of the frame. Neither one noticed me immediately because of the way the bed was facing the doorway foot first. I saw just his back and her laying flat on her stomach beneath him, while he was fucking her from behind. I could have just left right then and they never would have even known I was there. But I said something just casual like, "Hey, what's up?" It shocked the shit out of both of them. She hit me with the "what are you doing here," as you'd expect. The typical stuff. I think he was definitely way more embarrassed than she was. I just left and went back to the car. I can't even describe the things I was feeling. But the strongest emotion was, did I really just waste 6 years of time and effort on this girl? And also just disbelief she would ever do this to me. She came outside a few minutes later to talk to me, and it didn't get any better from there. When I tell you these words affected me for the next 10 years and continue to do so to this day, I mean it. You're annoying, you make me miserable, you're terrible in bed, and I never wanted to be with you anyway. It reads and sounds like a comical villain from a movie or something, but she literally looked me dead in the face and said all of these things with such venom, like she had been holding onto them for a long time. My confidence in myself was shattered, and I still struggle with it to this day. Everyone I have been with in a serious relationship with since has had to deal with the aftermath of that day, and it's not fair to them. I found out in the next few days details. He was in his 40s and was her boss at work at her new job, and was also married with at least one kid. I don't blame him for wanting her necessarily. She was gorgeous, tall, about 5'9". 5'9", huge and gorgeous green eyes, absolutely amazing rack, great ass. Good personality and fun to be around. To me, she is still the most beautiful woman I've ever been with. I fell in love with her the very first instant I saw her. I didn't seek to sabotage their tryst, but I do know eventually that him and her began a serious relationship, and he had left his wife. He was somewhere in his mid-40s now with my ex, who was 20. They ended up having a kid of their own together, which made me sick to my stomach in the mid-2010s when I heard about that. It's been 11 years now, and it doesn't bother me day to day. But my confidence and approach to the dating world, and women in general, I think, is still greatly affected by it.